All right, AP World, we're going to crunch through a little bit more here of Unit 0 together. We're going to do about, I guess I'll do about 20 minutes or so here. See if we can get through some more of these. We're on these early civilizations, a little bit of a theme here. And so we just finished up in class with Egyptians. I'm going to take us to the Indus. And whether you want to call that, kind of refer to that as the Indus River Valley civilization, that kind of thing, you betcha. So Indus, coming from India, which we will spend a lot of time learning about in AP World as we learn about the Mughal Empire and things like that. But way back here in the way back times, this is a civilization that begins to form up around the Indus River, like ones we're learning about here. You know, using the river as kind of the life stream, lifeblood for this civilization, and then it grows from there. Okay, so if we're thinking about location, India, Pakistan, modern day would be the equivalency as to where we're looking at there. Okay. Big trade civilization. Matter of fact, they do a lot of trade with Mesopotamia, and we'll spend another topic we'll spend a lot of time on in this class is networks of exchange, trade, that sort of thing, and so we see it start early with some of these ancient civilizations that they are figuring out ways of having these relationships with other civilizations, and the relationships center around making money. All right, something that's kind of been part of the history of people since we've pretty much been around the planet. When I talk about culture, I'll just focus mainly on religion, and we see this really is a polytheistic kind of religious faith of the Indus River Valley. We also see a big investment, if I'm talking about society, on technology and urban planning. The picture over there on the right side showing this walled city is an artist's kind of a concept of what we believe some of the larger cities of the Indus River civilization may have looked like. And hopefully what kind of grabs you by looking at that is that there's nothing random about it. It's planned. And we believe that the Indus may have been one of the first civilizations to really invest thought and time and effort into what we now take as just kind of normal in our modern day cities and towns, is the concept of urban planning, that we don't sit back and just wait for things to happen randomly. Okay, the Indus River Valley civilization also had their own written language, and we have plenty examples of that. What makes their language a little bit different than others is we still have not deciphered it. Scientists, anthropologists, linguists have been working on this for centuries and have not totally broken down the code to be able to truly translate what these samples that we have, what they're saying. And so that is one of those things that still the future could bring us some kind of a solution. I don't know, maybe one of you someday figure out the code behind the mystery. All right, moving on to China. We're going to spend a lot of time with this part of the world, whether we're talking about East Asia or what we think of as modern day China itself. And China will actually weave its way through many of our units. And so I'm just going to give you some real basics here. They do start as another kind of one of these river valley civilizations, and this one located more in the northern part of China along the Huanghe River is where we're looking at this, and where this all comes up to be. A very centralized form of government, and I'm not saying that any of these others didn't have features of that, but the Chinese seem to invest a little bit more of their time and effort into trying to perfect an early version of a central government, and we'll see that really start to blossom when we get into Unit 1, and we start looking at some of the dynasties that begin to rise and control China through its history. But that'll give us a little bit there. I'm not going to go too deep on China because we're going to spend so much time on it later on. All right. Now, not every civilization that was popping up in the ancient world was always tied to a specific river. Don't ask me why I've got a quotation mark in there. It looks like there's some kind of a typo. Oh, well, we go on. Some examples of some non-River Valley civilizations. We'll head over to the Americas for our first one, and that is the Olmec civilization, which is kind of located there in Mesoamerica, or what we would maybe refer to as Central America. Parts of it maybe kind of cutting into areas that eventually the Aztecs will rise, but also definitely areas where the Mayan culture will eventually come from. And a civilization, again, not really tied to a river. I mean, you think about the way geographically Mesoamerica is set up there, and there's a lot of access. You've got the Gulf of Mexico on one side, you got the Pacific Ocean on the other, that sort of a thing. The Chavin civilization a little further south, and where we would look nowadays kind of into kind of in through Peru and beyond, along and really when we look at the Andes Mountains, that's what I'm trying to say, along the Andes mountain range, taking in some of the area that eventually will become the Incan Empire, okay, a little bit further on. And both of these examples that I give you, fairly complex societies, a lot of, when it comes to their own version of religious faith, when it comes to art, like the examples that you see there on the left, and then on the right side, little thinking, pondering Olmec man there. You can just look at his face. He's just kind of like, huh. What do you think? I don't know. This is the kind of artwork that they're producing. It's kind of interesting to kind of sit back and, so many thousands of years later, and it's like, what were they thinking about when they put that together? I don't know. I find myself kind of in that position sometimes, kind of pondering like that. Usually I have clothes on, but I mean, still, I'm pondering, I think we all are sometimes. But yeah, no, extensive societies, extensive, religions and art and all that. And then also very trade-based again, okay? Whether they are trading, not necessarily Olmec with Chavin directly all the time, but with other smaller civilizations that neighbor them and around them, that kind of thing. All right, let's shift gears, and we're going to take a little look at some forms of faith that are going to be a little bit different than what we've been talking about so far. Most of what we've been talking about so far is what we talked about originally in class, and that is, animism. And so a lot of this worship of nature, whether it's animals, whether it's natural features like mountains and rivers and oceans, that kind of a thing. Hinduism and Judaism are going to be a couple of religious faiths that rise up still during these ancient times, a little further along, all right, but are going to be examples of portable faith. All right. And this is just the idea that, as people pick up and move from place to place, whatever's moving them along, maybe someone stronger has shown up and is squeezing them out of their lands. Maybe there's food sources that are running out. Maybe climates are shifting a bit and making it unlivable. But as people are doing this process, if their religious faith is connected to a mountain range, say, or a specific kind of species of animals, and now they're moving away from those things where those things are located, that presents some problems for their faith, and so we're going to see this kind of this movement, and it's nothing we talk about in Unit 0 happens quickly. But the beginnings of a faith that you can take anywhere, a faith that doesn't rely on something that is geographically pinned, instead a faith that you carry more in your heart, in your soul, and you take that from place to place. That's what I mean by a portable faith. All right. Hinduism will be the first one that we take a look at here. And for Hinduism, hold on just a sec here. Sorry, had a barky dog starting up on me, and it's like, no barky dog while I'm trying to take notes. He and I work on that all the time, but he struggles sometimes, he's a dog. But anyhow, Hinduism, when this one starts out, and it's if we're talking about its hearth, its origins, we really are talking kind of that India, Pakistan, if we're thinking of a current map of the world. It starts out as polytheistic. I mean, it's got all kinds of different gods, goddesses, and that sort of thing. But then over time, it's going to make kind of this monotheistic, I can say kind of a monotheistic shift. There's going to be some Hindus that are going to focus a lot of their worship on a god called Vishnu, and they'll kind of go in that direction. There's going to be others who focus most of their worship on a god called Shiva, and so you're going in different places with that. but it is the idea of people who are starting to let go of worshiping multiple things and beginning to focus on just the worship of one thing, monotheism, and that's what it's all about. Okay, that Hinduistic faith is going to definitely kind of the image that you see over there on the right side, the idea of reincarnation. That you're going to live this life, material life on earth. You're going to die, and then you're going to come back. Not necessarily come back always as another human form. You may come back as in the form of like a cow and things like that, which is going to end up tying in with their faith. And is going to make some of the animals in the Hinduistic societies, where you don't eat those because there's a high probability that it's the reincarnation of what had been a person before. And so, yeah, you got that reincarnation element. You also have the caste system that that is involved with Hinduism, and this is what's going to establish kind of the social hierarchy in this part of the world. Again, current day kind of India, Pakistan, and it's tied to the religious faith as to who is up at the top. And you see your little pyramid over there. Who's at the top and who are the the untouchables down at the bottom. Those people who are the high and the mighty, and that's all tied to the religious faith. So they're kind of intertwined. Okay, all right. Zoroastrianism. There we go. There's a religion that also makes its appearance this time, and it's kind of, well, there's going to be practitioners of this faith in India. Actually, it gets more of its starts in Persia, which is a little bit more like modern day Iran, and this is one that kind of looks more at religious faith in kind of this. I don't know. It's like a DC Comics kind of this this good versus evil sort of a structure to it, and this idea that while evil will prevail for a while, at the end of it all, good will come in and will win the day. And it's a faith that revolves around a lot about the struggle between good and evil, whether it's within each of us or on more of a universal scale. And so that's another very, very old religious faith that gets its start there, and one that won't have as many practitioners as Hinduism and Judaism, but definitely one that deserves a little bit of notice as well. While I'm on that topic of Judaism, let's just go ahead and move that right along. Its origins is pretty much it's going to be a monotheistic faith. Pretty much from the get-go, and that is going to be the faith of the Hebrews, the Israelites, as they're also referred to, and gets its start in what we think of nowadays as modern day Israel, but a land called Canaan, and kind of over there on the eastern side of the back then what's called the Great Sea, and what we think of nowadays as the Mediterranean Sea. And you can see how this is kind of forming up between those two early civilizations of Egypt and Mesopotamia. Okay, the faith is, like I said, it's going to be monotheistic. They have one God. They call him Yahweh. And this is a faith that is established by, well, I mean, as I think not all of you necessarily, but some of the story of Abraham, and all of that, and that's where they get their beginnings. I guess I'm jumping ahead of myself. You see the picture of the scriptures there. What we think of nowadays as the Old Testament, and really this is a religion of people who will eventually, they will view themselves as the Jewish people, the Jewish faith, and they see themselves early on as a chosen people. That the land that they are given, that land of Canaan, is a land that is given to them, promised them basically by Yahweh. And they are a faith, as we are going to learn about, is going to have a lot of ups and downs, especially a lot of downs through their history. And much of their history devoted to this idea that this land was given to us, and our struggle is to be able to establish ourselves on that land that was promised to us. It's kind of the underpinnings of their faith. Okay, alrighty. Let me take a quick break here. Hold on. All right, sorry, doing a little dog tending again. It's like he knows when I'm I'm kind of sitting down to do some of this. Anyhow, so we're gonna shift gears over here and spend a little bit of time on. There we go. little Buddhism coming your way. And let me get myself to where I need to be in my notes. And go. Hold on. All right, my apologies. I should have put little Murphy in his crate, which I've now done. Like I said, he always has a sixth sense. It's like, oh, you're on the video machine. I'm going to start becoming an irritant to you. I love him because he's cute. All right. Anyhow, we're gonna jump it over here to what we refer to as the classical era, and this is gonna be the time frame where we're gonna make the big crossover. This starts the classical era. No one is in full agreement on this, but circa about 600 BCE, and then it's going to end around 600 CE. Okay, so this is going to cross that line from year 0 and start moving us up to the year 600. And I'll start you off with here about a little bit about another religious faith, Buddhism, which is going to be another one that will find its origins in generally the same part of the world, kind of South Asia, as Hinduism did. So we can be thinking in our minds, kind of looking at the map of India, and that is the kind of the origins hearth for Buddhism, right? Which is what I've got right there, and this is one that is going to rise up as kind of an alternative to Hinduism. Different people, different faiths. I mean, we see it nowadays. It was no different back then, and will kind of spread actually from India, and will spread a little further than Hinduism will to other parts of Asia. Eventually, Buddhism will even make its way up to China as well, and there'll be a number of practitioners of Buddhism in that part of the world. As well. The Gupta Empire, Gupta, okay, is how you pronounce it, and that shows up around the year 320, and I'm now current era, and lasts to about the year 550. And it's during that time that what some historians view as kind of the golden age of India. You're going to get tired of hearing me saying golden age, because you're going to say, wait a minute, that's like the third golden age this country's had. And it's like, hey, I don't make this stuff up. I'm just reporting it to you. And so the Gupta Empire is seen as one of these for India. A time when we saw some real major advances being made in different kind of medical, either knowledge or in some cases kind of, in our eyes would be crude, but still, technological advances that were being made. Also in mathematics. Okay, we're going to find that Asia is going to be pretty much, whether we're talking about Western Asia, Southern Asia, up into Eastern Asia, that man, these are going to be some wicked mathematicians, and a lot of what we learn about nowadays in our schools, whether it's calculus, whether it's algebra, whether it's geometry, so much of it, its origins are in that part of the world. So if you're someone like me, it's kind of like, thanks for everything, guys. But for some of you who are really into math, hey, that's a part of the world you kind of lean back on and say, thank you for bringing this gift to me. All right, taking a look at some religious faith coming out of East Asia. And so East Asia, you're thinking kind of like China, all right? And Confucianism is where we'll take a look at and how it kind of plays its role in the rise of China. The Zhao dynasty, which years is going to be from the year 1076 BCE, all right, to 256. And on that one, we're still talking about 256 BCE, all right? But the Zhao dynasty is one that is going to be prominent in Chinese history because it's the first time you're going to have a dynasty that makes a strong effort to unify people in China. Before then, you've got all these different kind of warlords all over the place, and they control their own little, different parts of China. It's chaos until the Zhao dynasty comes in and kind of, drops the hammer and says that, hey, there's strength in unity, and we're going to be the ones to do it. Well, more barking dogs. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. My little Murphy, not that time. Now it's the dogs I'm babysitting. Sorry, this is just going to be the dog video. That's what we'll refer to it as, okay? And obviously I'm going to have to go, I don't know, maybe the next time I'm shooting some video here, I'll be hiding in my closet or something. Anyhow, let's talk about the Zhao dynasty, which you can remember for being unifying and also for bringing us these really cool hats. Like you see one of these rulers of the dynasty wearing. It looks like they'd be a little distracting to wear, having these little fringy things over your eyes. But hey, if he gives you ruler status, boom, bring it. Confucianism is going to be a faith that another one of those is kind of, a little bit of some of that tie-in with Zoroastrianism, through the little yin yang symbol up there, and kind of this whole idea of the light and the dark and finding the balance, and those sorts of things. Another faith that I didn't mention up there with B, that also is going to rise during this time, is Taoism. All right, Taoism, which is DAO. Tao, and then you can get your ism in there, and faiths that have some similarities, but will both be faiths that their origins are going to be in East Asia / China, however you want to think about it. Okay, a couple other dynasties that I'll mention to you here to wrap this up. And I think I'm going to hit the brakes here. We're right on. Yeah, we're in 21 minutes. I've already gone too far. And that is the Qin dynasty, and then the Han dynasty. I know you're looking at it going, isn't that Quinn without a U? No, it's Qin. All right, like that thing under your mouth. And these will be a couple other dynasties. The Qin dynasty and the Han dynasties pretty much take us in Chinese history from 221 BCE to 220 CE. All right, and these are ones that kind of build off of the Zhao dynasty, and where the Zhao does the unification process. These are the ones that are going to further kind of the stability of China, and once that stability is there, Chinese are able to start devoting more time to things like science, technology, and also government. One of the things that they will do is going to be this concept of getting ahead of myself, of the civil service exam. All right, get used to this. We'll be talking about this with a few of these dynasties. The civil service exam was the idea that if you wanted an important role in the government of the dynasty, you didn't have to be someone who was like connected to someone. Most people who were involved in these governments in a lot of parts of the world, you had to have your connections. Either you're a blood relative, and so you're just born into a royal family, or you are a cousin or a second cousin or an aunt or an uncle. You have some kind of relationship in there, or some kind of a direct connection. With the Qin dynasty, and then moving on, they're going to establish this system where anyone who sits down and takes a test and can pass it can get a job in the government, and some of them can be rather important jobs, and that establishes kind of this idea of that it's almost kind of a sense of a little bit more equality that's connected to it. That anyone could be that person as long as you've got the intelligence and maybe the work ethic required to make it happen. But it's a big break when they decide to establish the civil service exam system in terms of who is going to be kind of the worker bees of government, versus them just being people who happen, whether they're smart, dumb, or anywhere in between, but hey, you're a relation, so boom, you're in. Okay, and I'll finish that up by mentioning that with the Qin dynasty and the Emperor Qin, the pictures you see down there on the bottom right side of the terracotta warriors, that's all connected in with that dynasty. He was a guy who was paranoid about dying and the afterlife and all that kind of business, and so he went ahead and built up an army when he was still alive that would, in his mind, was going to accompany him into the afterlife. And next time you happen to be over in China, you can still go check out the terracotta warriors yourself. They're still there for display. Apparently, when they first built all these and made them all up, they were all painted and everything. Now the paint's all scraped off and over age, and you just have those. Anyhow, a little trivia bit there that I'm sure won't be on the AP test, but the fun stuff to know. All right, that's all I'm going to cover for you for now. All right, when we get back together on this and spend a little time in class, we are going to go to Europe. All right, but we'll save that for in class. All right. Hope this all makes sense to you. If you've got any pressing questions about anything I've covered, bring them to class. Thank you. Bye.